What's going on? It's Dan and Luke from Dark Previews, and we're here to talk about our best bets from round 22 of the NRL. Luke, we had some wonderful performances last week from your Panthers, my Broncos. Standout top two in the comp. I think
We
Penrith's a clear one, but Brisbane are a clear two. So it's
we
not
could have a
something I
grand
thought.
final here. We could do a preview of a grand final with our two teams.
I actually hope not. I hope that South or Parramatta knock his out in the prelim because that Penrith team's a fucking juggernaut. It's very intimidating for them to be in the competition. It's quite
do you
remarkable, really, because you've
do
lost
you
players
think?
every single year.
Yeah, and we're going to get gutted again this year. Do you think we're better than last year and the previous year? So I think we are. I think we're
Yeah,
like a machine. Whilst the
yeah.
stats
I
might not lean
can't
that
see he's
way.
losing.
Hmm.
Can't see it. Can't see he's losing any game.
Hmm.
It's ridiculous. Unless the boys from South can turn it on in the last 5 minutes of a game. But I just, yeah, it's so intimidating. Whereas, like before, it felt like your defense was great, but you know, there's a chance we can outscore you, you know?
Yeah.
But now the points are flowing. It's weird. You lost a bit of strike, but I think it's like the emergence of Edwards, Crichton. I think they're gotten real dangerous with it for some reason. They've started to become there's a bit more strike. Early in the year, not so much. I think second
Hmm.
rowers were lacking a bit of spark, but yeah, it's weird. You've got that good rotation happening with the second rowers. This fucking Lindsay Smith bloke comes out of nowhere and he's better than half the props in the comp. Like
Hmm.
yeah, it's sickening to be honest. But yeah, Huncho, welcome, bruz. You guys, we're unstoppable. Get out of here, mate. We all know you support Manly deep inside your heart, buddy. Um, we're not going to fuck around with this one. Well, we probably will, but for those of you who are watching, we're going to just get straight into our best bets. We're not going to preview every single game because I've noticed probably half the games I don't know what the fuck's going to happen. So let's not waste anybody's time talking about it. We'll get straight into our best bets. We'll probably just riff. You do one, I'll do one, and then if we happen to see an overlap in a game, we'll just jump straight into that. But
Sounds good.
you're my special guest tonight. What's your first one? Who you betting on
Uh,
and why?
Thursday night, I am off to the Gabba for the Broncos Roosters game. I've gone Roosters over 17.5 points in this game. I think this is going to be, I haven't checked the weather in my defense, but big reason
You can
behind
assume.
this, it'll be pretty good conditions.
Yeah.
The reason why I've gone this is basically Broncos have conceded more than 17.5 4 of their last 5 games. And also the Roosters have actually covered this 3 out of their last 5 games, with last week probably being the best they've looked in a long time for their attack. So I'm going on a bit of recency bias in terms of what they did last week, but also combining it with the Broncos are at the moment conceding at 80% of their games over that 17.5. So I still think Broncos will win, but I think it'll be a good game. I still think high scoring though.
Yeah, I think I'm personally staying away from that game, but I think it's going to be a good one. Like every inch of my body wants to back the Broncos, but we've been waiting for weeks for the Roosters to finally click. You know, I've even fucking taken a stab at them the last 3 weeks. Actually, last week I had enough of them. I didn't touch them, but the prior 2 weeks I was on them, and they absolutely cooked me both times. And I was like, "Fuck these pricks." I was back in the Titans last week, and that didn't work for me. So, yes, it's scary when they're on. I think reflecting back on it, I probably should have picked it better because that game against Melbourne, they had more line breaks. They just couldn't finish off. So they were quite dangerous. They just couldn't finish. And then against the Titans, it all started to come together. Second half, put the Q in the rack, get that, but a dominant display nonetheless. Brisbane have been playing quite well all year. It's going to be interesting. I think Roosters will be up for it. The energy will be there. So I couldn't find it in my heart to back Brisbane and cover that line. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Brisbane, an excellent team at night. They've got the best, a really good night. Well, they play most of their games at night anyway, and they won most of their games. So it's a shit start to say we've won more night games than anyone else, to be honest. But no, I like that. I think there should be some points. Like we know Brisbane can put it on, and The Roosters are coming without intent, so I don't dislike it. And you weren't disrespectful by saying that the Roosters will win. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
Hats off to you, mate. My first bet I want to discuss takes us to Friday night. Looking at the 6 p.m. clash between the West Tigers and the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Now, the Tigers are $8.60. Souths are $1.07. So, although I'd love to take the Tigers to win, being a bit conservative with it, but I'm taking the Tigers to score more than 12.5 points. Quite a relatively low line up against a team that's in pretty poor form. For the Tigers, we've got Brooks is back, and prior to his little hammy injury, he was actually looking quite dangerous. Dane Laurie looked excellent last week, playing at 5'8". He looked brilliant. And of course, he signed that contract with Penrith, and all his weights lifted.
I was going to say he's looking comfortable now. He's happy to get to a team that's playing finals footy next year.
He's not playing as if he's stressed. He's about to get dropped for no apparent reason. So Dane Laurie looked great. Brooks is back. Appy's been back a few weeks now, and he's looked pretty good. And then the Tigers' efforts there, it's just they're a bit fucking stupid sometimes. So having some better players should straighten them up. I don't think they'll win, but South have. I mean, the Tigers have scored more than 12.5 points in 11 of their 18 games this season. They did fail to score a point against South last time. They finished on a fat donut. Although in the prior 4 games,
you remember that game? That was like 6-0 for like an hour.
It sounds like a shit game. I think
that was the week. That was the week after.
I was in a massive bender in that one. I didn't know what was going on.
That was the week after Tigers beat Penrith in Bathurst, and then they came out and they were competitive for an hour, and then got blown off in the last bit.
So that's when they were like trying just grinding rubbish teams out. But I think they're getting a bit more expansive. Their attack, I wouldn't say clicking, but you can see what they're working with. I think you can see what they do in training every single day. Like I wouldn't say it's the best, but they're limited with what they're working with at the moment. So I think all those players are having a crack against the Dragons. I know they lost, but there's something happening there. They'll fucking get the spoon for sure, but I don't think they'll get absolutely romped in this game. South, I guess they've been underwhelming for maybe 7-8 weeks now. They had the one good win against the Warriors from what I remember, and outside of that, they've been pretty average. Trell is back, but 3 months out, I don't think he'll be at his best.
No,
he could lay on a try short range. He could get some try assists happening, but that doesn't necessarily mean the Tigers won't score points. I'm expecting this game to go overs, so I'm expecting some points, and for the Tigers to get 12.5, I could see that happen. Whether it comes in the last 20 minutes when South start to slow down, whether it happens early, I don't know. But yeah, I'm looking at the Tigers to score over 12.5 points. I might even have a look at what 18 points looks like. But yeah, I'm thinking that's pretty good value against the South team who've got some pretty poor form there.
Yeah. Right. What about the travel of Souths, by the way? Sunshine Coast last week. They're in Tamworth for this game. Then they go to Perth next week. Then all the way back to Cairns for a next game, and then Newcastle on the way down before a bye.
Ooh,
that's a road trip.
Unlucky.
Very much so. My next game is also on the Friday night. That is Saturday. Sorry, the 5:30 game Saturday, I should say. Sorry. St George and Manly. I've got Manly -6.5 against the Dragons. I can't understand why the line is so low when Manly went out, and I know Cronulla are a bit patchy at the moment, but they've come out and beat Cronulla to give their run of form. They beat the Sharks, lost to the Cowboys, who were flying. They beat the Roosters. They lost to Melbourne and lost to Para. So they've had a pretty tough draw. The Dragons, on the other side of it, have lost to every man and his dog, and their only real win recently was the Tigers in the battle for the fucking spoon. So I don't understand where they.
You could argue they lost the spoon.
Yeah, like that was basically it. Otherwise, they've been pretty fucking awful for the whole year. They haven't strung 2 wins together. They haven't even looked convincing for 2 games in a row, and they're playing a Manly team who are just back to be more reliable and consistent. So it's probably one of Manly's easier games in the last 6 weeks. So I'm back on the cover of the half.
Yeah, I was actually speaking to a Manly fan today. I was talking to him about my strategy for betting this week, what I'm planning. And he goes, whatever you do, don't touch Manly this week. And I was like, why? He goes, for some reason, whenever we go to play the Dragons on the road, we just suck. I don't know what the reason is.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, that's what your vibe tells you. I'll see. It's Cherry's 300th this week, though, isn't it?
Is it? Oh, it's good. Let me have a
I
look
saw
at
someone in the Discord saying, should we get on DCE to score a try because it's his 300th?
that. Oh, there
Who
you go.
was
There's
that?
some motivation.
It could be, unless it's a Jared Croker thing all over again.
Yeah, you're right. It is his 300th.
It is. Yeah. Old long neck.
Fucking heard nothing about this. Jared Croker's 300. The whole the country fucking stops for him. They delayed the fucking game. Like, they made the biggest fucking deal about Cherry Evans playing 300 games and there's not a peep out of it.
Yeah. It's because he's a Queenslander, mate.
Yeah.
So, look, I'm not saying it's a bad bet. I'm just saying that's what I heard. I personally would be thinking Manly would slap these fuckers. But, the other thing I think about is this too good to be true? Like, is the line too short? Like, do the matchmakers know something? The odds makers here. So, but, I think all signs do point to the Eagles pumping them because what are the fucking Dragons playing for? So,
exactly.
Yeah. I don't know what they're doing. So, I don't know. Have they made any changes to their lineups? Is there anything in that?
No, there's nothing.
Nothing obvious.
Nothing. Yeah, I know there's talk apparently Turbo might come back and make finals. So there's a bit of
guy.
Aloiai and Paseka are out maybe, but
yeah,
they got that bloke who never seems to stay at a club very long, Matt Lodge, starting. So it's not like it's
It's so weird. Like when I was watching Lodge on there, I was like, fuck, he's not doing too bad. But the thing is, even when you watch him at the Roosters, no matter where he plays, it's like, fuck, he's doing all right. Like,
yeah, he was all right
all the time. He's bending the line back all the time. Like, yeah, he must be really weird or something, Just might.
Yeah,
there's got to be something up with him.
Must touch people inappropriately or something at training.
Yeah,
there's a defamation case coming. Big
fingers.
Wondering
most of them guys gone. That's interesting.
Straight off overseas.
Straight up.
But again, it's not like.
And it's the Dragons don't have a bloody powerful pack anywhere, so it doesn't matter if you lose your starting props. Like,
yeah,
you've only got Jack DeBellin to really worry about.
Exactly. It's I don't know why the line. Maybe because it's at Wynn Stadium, but one team's literally playing for finals, the other one's got nothing to play for. Not even a permanent coach in there at the moment. I just don't see the motivation in it.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. All right, let me jump in there. I'm betting on your boys this week. We had Saturday, 7:35 p.m. at Bluebet Stadium. It's the Panthers versus the Sharks. Who would have thought you'd ever see the Sharks at what are their odds? $1.10, $1.17? Like, meeting. Oh, sorry, the Panthers are that
670.
670 for the Sharks. Massive outsiders. The line is longer than my but it's huge. That line is intimidating. So I'm personally taking Penrith to score over 29.5 points. I reckon they dropped 30 on these fucking losers. A lot of noise around Nico Hines losing confidence after his 11-minute stint in Origin, perhaps. I don't think that's the case. He's still doing the same shit he normally does. It's just as a team that it's as if they're not bought in. Plus
I think there's just more. As I said before Origin, I said I think he's playing well, but I just thought he was a bit overrated. Now he's got a little bit of scrutiny on him.
Yeah.
And the top 8 thing, that was a problem last 2 years. Like, that wasn't a Nico Hines thing. So
yeah, and I think Fitzy's probably been overvalued as a defensive coach. Like, that defense sucks.
It's like Serraldo.
Shit. Yeah, he's shit too. Yeah. So I don't know. There's something in the water at that place. And look, the Sharks struggle obviously against the top 8 sides. They don't get any harder than this. It's the hardest game they're going to get all year, and they're in shit form. And they're on the road, and Penrith are on fire at the moment. So yeah, I think it's going to be a long and for the Sharks, it's like they're excellent or they're shithouse. I think it's similar to South actually, but South's are a bit more consistent on the good side.
South's good can beat a good team, or a Sharks good can't beat a good team at the moment.
Yeah, so I can see just a lot of errors, a lot of frustration from the Sharks. So I think Penrith will grind them out and just blow them off the park. What have you got?
I've got Penrith to cover the line. I've got them to cover the line, 17. It's big, but I've got them to cover that line. On the basis, very simple. It's the best defensive team playing at home, playing against one of the worst defensive teams at the moment, and their record against top 8 teams defensively, they're conceding on average 40 points a game against top 8 teams in the last 3 games. So they are leaking. That left edge is fucking woeful. They even took Moylan out. I don't know if they named him again. They took Moylan out and Talakai last week and brought it, and they were just as bad. Italy had a field day down there right hand side.
Connor Tracy sucked. He didn't have that.
Yeah,
yeah.
So they've brought no, they're sticking to it. They've got Connor Tracy and Braden Trindle, and yeah, they're sticking. So the same edge. So for those of you who like your anytime try scorer multis, Tago's out again. So I'm assuming it's going to stay the same setup as it was last week with Peachy on the left. Crichton, that right edge, Crichton won't pass. Like he will, but Crichton, Toto, there's your money. Like they are both going to get over on that side.
Absolutely. Fuck these guys. They got Wade Graham starting. He'll be defending on the left side too. Is it Sorensen or Liam Martin on the right edge? It's Liam Martin, right?
Marto's right edge, Sorensen's left edge, yeah. So
Wade Graham getting an HIA in this one for sure.
Marto's got a kamikaze.
Yeah. He might retire after this one. So
he's in there. I could be close, I reckon, next week to making a retirement starting 13. Jared Croker's got the captaincy badge right on him. Josh Reynolds made a late omission from the team, but Wade Graham's in that bucket. There's a few players you're like, man, you're fucking milking every cent of that last contract out.
Yeah.
He is one of them.
What's that? Here's a VC, fucking Liu from the Titans. That guy's got to retire, man. Fucking hell. There's a few Titans players that should have retired. Maybe, a couple dogs even. Fucking hell. All right. Let's keep going. My next one is on Sunday. One. I got 2 more still.
Fuck.
Yeah. 2 more. I'm looking at Dogs versus Dolphins. 2 p.m. It's in Bundaberg. My old man's traveling to Bundaberg soon. Like, what are you doing there? He's like, just driving. I was like, all right. Look, you're old. Enjoy the rest of your life. Dogs v Dolphins. I'm taking the Dolphins score of 25.5 points. The Dogs' defense is absolutely terrible. I know they've had a couple games against top sides, but the tries that they're leaking are absolutely piss poor. They're awful. Toby Sexton has another element in their attack. Kickout's back in, which, is exciting. Like, on paper, the team's not that bad, but they're still the same shit team we've seen all year, unfortunately. Like, even when Kickout was playing early in the year, the Dogs were still pretty shit. It's just they didn't have an excuse. Kickout got injured. That became their excuse, and they sucked dick. So I don't see that changing immediately. Dolphins love a high-scoring game up in Queensland. The Hammer's back at fullback. He's not playing in the centers anymore. So I think it's going to be nice and spicy. So Dolphins over 25.5 points. That's what I'm thinking. You got anything in this game?
I got Dogs plus 4.5 in this game. On that reason, I think this is probably the closest, strongest lineup we've had for the Dogs in a long, long time.
Yeah.
Ray Stone's a big out for the Dolphins, and they were pretty bad defensively. But I tell you what, in attack last week, they actually caused Penrith some headaches on that edge. A couple of times they went around. It was Peachy's edge there, so they.
With Carraz in the centers.
Yeah, he was fast. He's a quick boy. So I didn't mind seeing that. Plus, they get Addo Carr back as well. So they actually do get quite a fair few wins. So I think they'll be better for it. And I think they can. I think it'd be close. I think it's a coin flip. That's why I've taken them plus 4.5.
Yeah, so. I was honestly thinking both teams to score 20 in this one.
They could. Yeah, this could be a 20 all going in 2 minutes to go.
Yeah. I was thinking both teams to score 20 because I'm not riding off the Bulldogs' attack. I think Sexton really opens things up for Matt Burton. Obviously, Kickout's back.
But you take the last 3 weeks. They put 18 on Penrith, who are a team of averaging less than 12 a year at Penrith as well. They put 24 on you guys, and then they put actually 32 on South.
Yeah.
So I think I like your points bet, to be fair, and I think
Hmm.
those three teams they've played in 3 weeks, and I know they played the Knights who put 66 on them and flogged them, but the Knights instead have gone on with it. They beat Melbourne in Melbourne last week, so they're legit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
Too
that.
legit to quit. So yeah, I like points in this one. I do. I'm thinking total overs, but who the fuck knows? I'm just going to go with Uncle Wayne and the Dollies to get over on that one. All right, and in the last game, we've got Gold Coast versus the North Queensland Cowboys, Cbus Super Stadium. Normal. When I first looked at this, I was like, overs. Cowboys are on song. The Titans are the Titans. There'll be a lot of points, but when these two fucking teams match up, it always seems to be a bit grindy. From what I've noticed, it's as if I think these guys kind of step up when that Queensland derby type of bullshit happens and they actually improve their defense. It's quite strange. It's not what you'd expect on paper, but I'm taking the Titans under 18.5 points. Now, there's two reasons for this. One, I'm a bit sour that they fucking didn't score enough points last week because I was backing their overs against the Roosters. But also, just watching them play with no Tino playing, no one gives a shit in this team. Absolutely gutless when he's not there. I couldn't believe it. It just sucked. Fafito sucked.
It was his 200th.
Cheap brothel. It was his 100th game. He did
100th.
nothing.
It was
He ran.
100.
Yeah, I think at one point I remember commentator saying he's had 14 runs for 80 meters. I was like, what is that? Like, that sucks. He's running at fucking Sandon Smith. Every run was at Sandon Smith. 14 runs and 80 meters for Peter got. But, I think they're just missing Tina. Like that leading from the front. No one else is putting that type of effort in. Probably Mo Fodawaker, but he's only one man and he's an undersized forward. So, yeah, not very impressed with their ability to score points. And I think, well, not that I think, everyone knows that the Cowboys are hot. What have they won? Like 6 games in a row or something? Like 5? Like these motherfuckers are turning it on. So, and they're still running Tamalolo off the bench, which is a scary proposition. I think they'll make a statement here. I think they'll blast these motherfuckers. But I'm worried. Previous history tells me that the game could be low scoring. I wouldn't be surprised if the Cowboys win bloody 20-8 or something like that. So, just knuckling down, getting their defense right. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I like it.
So did you get through all your 4?
My 4 are done.
I got through my 4. All right. Next topic of discussion. Which team's most likely to get an upset here?
This week out of all the games?
Yeah, give me an absolute dog. Let's talk through the dogs of the competition.
The dog for me this weekend, the biggest dog I think is Para at 285 against Melbourne.
Yeah.
I think they can cause an upset down there. History between the two teams, you'll find Para don't mind playing Melbourne. They beat them. I think this year, I think Melbourne beat them round 1. I think it was round 1, and it was really only a Harry Grant solo try. But last year, from memory, Para did the double over them, including it was like a golden point. They scored a goal. They scored a try in Melbourne. And then back
was that Ray Stone? Was it that one where he got injured?
Yeah, done his shoulder. Yeah, correct. So they've actually, Para have won 4 of their last 5. The only game they lost to Melbourne was the last one at round 1, where that was everyone talking up. This is Melbourne's chance to lose finally a round 1 game under Bellamy. They didn't. So Para have more to play for in terms of the win and staying in the 8th. They're currently sitting on 8th. However, Melbourne need to stay close with the top 4 because the Wars have the bye, so they'll get the 2 points there. And the Raiders is my other. Sorry, not the Raiders. The Knights playing the Raiders is my second one at $2.20.
You hate the Raiders. Put your emotion aside, man.
They're fucking overrated. Like, what about him coming out blowing up about the Warriors game? I'm like, you guys were fucking dead in the water until a minute ago. Like, fuck off. Should never have been in it. But I think, the Knights are fucking playing good. They're doing all right. Like, since, again, Penrith beat them with half a team. But again, it just shows how good Penrith are. They've put on 2 floggings and then still come out and beat Melbourne in Melbourne. They're behind against Melbourne as well. 8-0.
Yeah, I know. 2 early tries. I was actually kicking myself during the game, after the game, and I was like, fuck, how did I not spot this, right? Because I've been on the Knights since Ponga went to fullback. I've thoroughly enjoyed them. And then when that fucking story of what's his name? The bloody captain, the Melbourne captain. What's his name? Dickhead who can't play Origin anymore. Christian Welsh. When he made that comment around the Penrith and the Knights game, I was like, when the Knights play the Storm, they're going to be up for it, right? Like that was my thinking at them in the moment, and I completely missed that last week because I like because one of my bets was for the Knights to go overs on their total point sign at home, and I factored in it because they're at home and their form's good, and I haven't rated Melbourne this year despite them winning games, and then when they won, I was like, fuck, how did actually, I was angry because I picked Melbourne to win. I said, Melbourne will win, but I don't think they'll blow them out. I don't know if they can cover the line. And I was spewing I took Melbourne to win. And like, it actually cost me quite a bit of money, believe it or not. But I was kicking myself because I missed that. I forgot all about it. But the risk for me here is I don't see a narrative for the Knights against the Raiders.
Yeah.
Like, you can really just take it as it is. So these sweet narratives in rugby league, they actually drive a lot. It's not like the NBA, which I watch closely. There's not too many narratives. You're playing every second day, sometimes back to back. You just keep going.
Yeah.
It's hard to get one. Whereas this, they play every single week. If you can find the narrative or the juice or you can find a story that's going to inspire the boys and girls that play this wonderful game of rugby league, you could be onto something. So I agree with you on the Parramatta one. I think the more I think about it, I like it even more. Nelson's out for Melbourne, and I feel like Nelson's the only strike player. Well, the only player in Melbourne playing with strike.
Yeah.
Like, Munster's honestly not doing much, and neither is Harry Grant, and neither is Jerome Hughes. They're all playing a very similar role to Nick Meaney. They're kind of getting their jobs done. Like, they're trying some shit, but they're not doing much. Whereas Nelson's the biggest threat that they have. Whether
Do you
it's
think they made a mistake letting so many Melbourne players go to the Dolphins into that forward pack and not staggering maybe?
I don't think it's about how many they let go. I feel like they just didn't replace them well enough. Like, they've always gotten all these bludgers to come in. Like Tarek Sims, for example, a lot of people expected him to get back to Origin contention, perhaps, right? He's been pretty poor. Katoa's been good, but he's been injured, but he does come back. But Tarek Sims has been poor. They got Liero playing on the edge. He's, I don't even think he's in the top half of second roles in the comp. Both of the Bulldogs' second roles are better than him. So,
yeah, true.
Yeah, I don't feel like they replaced them well enough. I think it was good timing to let them go because you'd have to pay them overs for a contract that's too long. Like, the Dolphins are going to be crying that they have those Dolphins players. I mean, those Melbourne players. So, but yeah, I think no Nelson means that they're going to lack a bit of strike. And also, I think Parramatta in the last 20 minutes of the game last week have probably figured out what they need to do to score points with their depleted lineup. They just got to let that ball sing. Like, they've got the best attack in the comp, right? Parramatta.
Yeah.
They lead the competition in offloads. They, by far, last week's game only exaggerates that statistic, but they're just dangerous as hell when they can let that ball go.
Yeah, good point.
They can't. I think if they play structured, they don't have enough. They don't have Dylan Brown in there. Their number 9's as beta as fuck. Young bloke who'll get better.
Yeah.
But like, if they play structured and within their system, they're not going to score points. They've got to be psychopaths. They need to go Cardi party all day. Because Gutho loves that shit.
Yeah.
Gutho thrives in chaos. They need some more chaos. They can't get that structured shit happening. And I think hopefully they learnt that in the last 20 minutes. Because they tried to play proper footy against the Cows. Not going to work. But when you start chucking that ball all over the place, that's when things get a bit horny. So I do like the Para. Dogs play. I'm hoping the Tigers can fucking, destroy Souths. What else there? We've got the Dogs. I think the Dogs are a good chance at an upset because the Dolphins. I feel like if the Dolphins are ever winning a game, you can't trust them to close it out. They've just got no experience in that spine.
It's true. Sullivan's not going to steer them around.
No. He's been, very average since he's come back from his injury. So, and you'd be crazy to think there'd be any more than that. There's what you're thinking 2, 3 is a lot if you're talking about upsets in rugby league. Like if you think about it in a tipping comp, what do most people get? 6 out of 8. Like
5, 6,
yeah. 6 out of 8 you'll get because you just tip the favourites. Most people just tip the favourites. So you got to have some balls and knowledge and understand the narrative to pick some dogs. So yeah, I think those ones are good dog plays for underdogs. Who do you reckon wins the Dally M this year? Has that gone behind closed doors? That's closed doors, right? Since what round?
Yeah. I think it's like round 8 or round 9 or something.
Oh, really?
The one who I think's a real chance is Dylan Edwards.
I was thinking Drinkwater.
Apparently, I did think that, but he apparently loses I think something like 12 points because he was suspended for 3. You know that where he fucking KO'd your Broncos, mate?
Oh, Corey.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he loses 3 points per game he gets suspended for. Like, I did read that, and then someone's like, he could still win it despite that. I'm like, nah.
I didn't know that's how it works. So when they're suspended, they lose points for every game they're suspended.
Yeah.
Right.
So the AFL, you get rubbed out.
Amount, you were just ruled out. So that's not how it works.
No, the AFL, you get rubbed out completely.
Right.
But Dally M, you lose points for every game that you're suspended for.
So Walsh would have lost only 2 points because there's only 2 NRL games he missed, or is it he'll lose 3 because it was a 3-game suspension?
I can find out
because Walsh was pretty.
So a player. This is from last week. So a player who is suspended for 1 game during the season will be deducted 3 points, while any player, any player suspended for 2 or more weeks is ruled out of winning the Dally M.
Oh, there you go. All right, so Drinky's out.
Yeah. So I don't know what.
Yeah. It could be Dylan Edwards.
But the other thing is, I think Dylan, because he's just been so consistent and during hey, yeah, but the Origin period they had half their players that take points and stuff, and he's in there.
Yeah.
They're absolute. So before it went behind closed doors, you had Turbo 21, Reynolds 19, Munster 19, Moses 19. Oh no, sorry.
Is that the right?
Sorry. Payne Haas was this stupid point system. Payne Haas 30, Cleary 27, Harry Grant 25, Hines 25, Walsh 24, Latrell 23, Hunt 22, Cody Walker 22, Edwards 22, and Sean Johnson 22. There's fucking value. Can't bet on it anymore, but
Sean Johnson's pretty juicy. I think Payne Haas is probably the safe bet because if he plays, he's getting points. Even if they lose, he's getting points because I feel like when the Broncos lose, Payne Haas is doing even more. So I think it's probably a safe one, but yeah, SJ could get up there too.
Actually, I've got it up here now. Is it 3, 2, 1? Oh no, that looks like the old one. Oh no, this innovation. The NRL's confirmed Dally M eligibility and penalty in the event of on-field suspensions in line with this year's. Under the new judging system, 2 judges per game. Each match suspension will invoke a 6-point deduction. So he actually loses 18 points because you can get 6 per game. So it's equivalent to 3 still per game. So he loses 18 points for that. So he's got to come back from what I say. He was on 22. So he's technically on 4 points before it went behind closed doors. I don't think he can claw that back.
No. No. That's cooked.
What a it's saying, wait, no, sorry. It is saying two or more matches in any one season immediately becoming ineligible for Dally Awards.
Right. Okay.
So did he miss 2 or 3? Yeah, he was.
Right. Well, it's a pity you can't bet on it anyway.
So Reece Walsh missed 2 games?
2 NRL games. He was suspended for 3.
So he's out. Yeah.
He's out.
3 matches was Drinkwater. So he's gone. Sean Johnson, I think, could be, because again, the Warriors have won a lot of games. I think I wish he could bet on, because I would think Sean Johnson's a huge chance. But
he's probably $1.70 or something. Because it's not a secret that he's been killing it. Not a secret that the Warriors are doing well.
Yeah.
And he's probably racked up. Think of a Warriors game that they've won where someone in the Warriors has played better than him. Probably AFB, and that's it. I can't see anyone taking points off Sean Johnson.
Yeah, true.
Interesting. All right. The top 8, there's I don't know. There's probably that top 12. They're probably all a good chance. Top 13, perhaps. But I think realistically, it's probably just the top 9 teams, unless South and Manly can do some crazy shit, even the Roosters. But all right, who in the top 8 currently is going to drop out?
I've got money on it. I still think the Cowboys.
You still think the Cowboys drop out?
Yeah, I still think the Cowboys.
You cash that bet out, by the way.
Nope. Wouldn't let
Nope.
me.
What
I
are
had
your
to
odds
cash
at?
out. I had a cat. I can't. There's no odds now. I had a cash out of 3-1, and my odds were 350. I held on to it. So you win some, you lose some. The reason why I think Cowboys still drop out, and I know it's crazy, they do have a buy in there, but they play you guys, and Penrith still in their remaining fixtures. So the only thing which again will probably save them this year is they might go into that last game against Penrith, and Penrith rest their players because they've got nothing to play for because they've locked up top 2. But if you guys keep winning, they may go, no, we want the minor premiership. We'll play for that, which they last year they rested players when they wrapped up in the minor premiership. So there is still that incentive to finish first.
I don't think Kevy's going to risk it. He'll fucking play these Broncos all the way.
Yes, because he doesn't want to lose momentum. So that there, I have the Cowboys finishing on 28 points. They have a very average for and against. They actually have the worst for and against of the teams on 26 points and 24 points.
Yeah.
So I can see that happening there. But then on the flip side, I'm not confident Cronulla can stay in the 8. So they could just hang on there because Cronulla have gone to shit. But like someone like the Roosters, if the Roosters gel and play to their potential, they'll win every game and win it by a country mile, like starting with you guys this week. If they don't beat you guys this week, they won't make there. But if they beat you guys, I'd give them a serious chance of making a run, and it could come down to the Rabbitohs Roosters game at the end of the season. As to who makes the 8 out of them too.
Jeez, that'd be a great game. I like when those two teams play. I think Cronulla could drop out. They're absolutely rattled. I don't think they can come back.
Well, they play the Rabbits as well. The Rabbitohs go Tigers, Sharks, Dragons. So they could easily put 3 on the board there. Then they also have a bye, and then play the Knights and the Roosters. So Rabbits get it together. If Latrell's there and they fire, they could win 4 out of those games. That would put them literally 2 points. They'd put them level with the Cowboys, and they do have a better for and against by about 40 points. So you think if the Cowboys are losing 2 and they're only losing 1, their for and against is going to be better. It's a weird one. So
you think Para gets in then?
I think so, yeah.
Right.
I even think the Knights are a smoky, but Para, it's interesting. They play Melbourne in Melbourne, which I think they can win. They play the Dragons. They actually do have a pretty fucking shit draw, but they do finish with the bye as well. So
yeah, it's going to be spicy. I think it's very interesting. I just had an idea. I was going to ask you, but we're a bunch of armchair critics. What do you think the league needs to do? The NRL needs to do to stop these fucking rubbish clubs from being so shit. How do you fix that?
I just think it's at what point do you look at like the board and the directors and that and make a decision and realize, there's a problem there. Like the Tigers, for example, that Lee Hanjapantalis fucking dressed like a fucking Muppet in a merchandise store doing media interviews last week. Like, fucking hang on, you fucking brought Robbie and the Benji show and Tim Sheens in, and you made a decision to bring Fulton in, who they think he's one of the best recruiters in the country. Like, who did he recruit at Manly? Like, the Turbo boys all come through the junior grades. He didn't recruit them. What's he fucking done?
Yeah, Jason Saab, perhaps. I don't know.
From the Saab from the Dragons. Like, fuck me. Like, where in the world? And at what point, like, after watching Tiger Town, you go, yeah, they're a pretty fucked club, eh? Like, they're Pascal and that. It makes no sense to me.
The reason why I ask is, remember, like, maybe the first 10 rounds of this year, it's like every game is awesome. Like, every game, like, anyone can win. The competition was really close, right? And now we're starting to see the cream rise and the scrubs are starting to scrub. I think really the bottom three teams have been shit. I think Gold Coast have been dudded a few times. I reckon they've been robbed of a couple of wins.
Yeah, they have been, yeah.
So, but I'm thinking about how can you close the gap? So already the top teams, there's like a natural selection. When they play really well, if they win a comp, in a way they get penalized, right? Your players leave, they earn better money elsewhere. So the top teams, and you'd assume that should balance out the competition. But we always tend to see the same teams up there. What if we could enhance it a little bit and we said to the bottom teams, if you finish at the bottom or whatever it is, for the following year, we give you an extra $1 million in your cap to give you the ability to recruit better.
It would fuck the top teams up more though, because that they're having $1 million to poach the top players again. So it's going to really it might help them. It's going to hemorrhage your top teams. Imagine Penrith's team if the Tigers, these players had $1 million extra, they'd take Appy and Luai, and Penrith would be like, "Fuck, now we're the bottom team."
But that's the thing, you probably wouldn't be, right? It'll even the competition up a bit. You know that if Luai goes to the Tigers, he's going to be awful.
It'd just encourage tanking as well, though. Like knowing there's $1 million for a salary cap, you just tank the season and get a war chest.
Well, that's what they do in the NBA, right? Teams tank on purpose to get better opportunities to get young players because they can't have a draft system in the NRL. The players in this country couldn't handle it. Some people have to live at home. They pick their clubs based on where they live. So you can't have a draft system like the AFL or the NBA. But I only thought of that just then when I was looking at the ladder. It doesn't have to be $1 million, but it needs to be something to help these fucking losers. You know, it's got to be something. And it's not, is it more home matches, more matches at home to support them, or better scheduling, easier draws?
No, I just think it's fucking
suck it up.
Suck it up and get it sorted, man. Apart from again,
do they do anything in the EPL? Is there anything in the EPL?
Promotion and relegation. You get relegated.
Yeah.
So you go down to the next tier and that costs you a shit ton
of
money. There's a reward for staying up. So incentive and I just look at it and think fucking we claimed it was close and everything like that, but Penrith weren't playing the football they're playing. I just think the better teams have gotten better. The shit teams have stepped back a bit, but the start of the year, Penrith were losing games by 1 point. Everyone's like, how close is this competition? And then, until there was only going to be a point until these teams started firing. But I think it's some of these rosters it shows you can't buy a team and be challenging a year later. You got developed players. All these teams that are doing well have a lot of homegrown players and come through the grades. Whereas these teams at the bottom, they're literally relying on buying people, and just saying, yeah, we'll put a team together. And they're continuing doing it. Like the fucking Tigers are buying all the Manly rejects, and Manly are trying to do the same and wonder why they're never challenging. The Dogs bought, I think Taylor, whatever his name is, from the Roosters, the forward, is signed there. And they're apparently going after Luai as well. And,
Oh, really?
Yeah. They bought that Broncos kid. Develop your own.
Oloapu. And they've got to look good juniors. It's just don't get it. Yeah, it just doesn't happen. What are we going in the comments here? Astro, can the Dolphins make the 8? No, I don't think so.
No, the wheels have fallen off, unfortunately.
Yeah, they had their time. They've outperformed everybody's expectations.
Definitely.
So some people had them for the spoon. I had the Dragons for the spoon. Still not far off. You had the Dolphins for the spoon, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Tested?
Mate, if we go off the last fucking 16 rounds, I'll probably be home and hosed.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Last question for you. What if, not a what if. The one thing the great thing about the finals is that every game means so much, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the shit thing about the finals is that there's less games.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't like that about most sports, is when it comes to the business end, there's less games on there. What if, when the finals are running, you run a separate competition for all the fucking rejects who didn't make it.
I would rather do like a play-in, like the AFL are doing this year, and the
Is that the team
NBA.
that finished
So
9th and 10th?
teams, so basically teams 7, 8, 9, and 10
Yeah.
play off. The
Right.
other guys, the other 6 get the bye. Then the 2 winners of that go in as the 7th and 8th team, and then 1 plays 4, 5 plays 8, 6 plays 7, and there you go.
You guys are on the same wavelength. And I think it makes sense given that, there's going to be probably 11 to 12 teams fighting for that. For only eight spots. Whereas the play-in would be nice and juicy, I think. So, yeah,
and people argue, oh, like the team that comes 10th shouldn't be entitled to get a run in. But I'd argue, like, say, like the Heat in the NBA this year. See, I do watch NBA. It was a pretty cool story watching them go, how deep they ran in that playoffs. Like,
finals run, yeah.
Yeah, like it's pretty cool seeing a team do that. And I think from memory with rugby league, there's barely been a team outside the 4 that's won the comp in a long time anyway. So it's not like those top 4 teams are going to feel like, oh, we're disadvantaged now. You still want to be in the top 4 to win the comp, but it makes it more interesting and a bit more entertaining. Like, hypothetically, right, Roosters might finish 10th or 9th and they go on just run, but they just left it too late. Yeah, fucking a lot of teams will be avoiding them in the finals, even though they finish 10th. Like, it makes it a bit exciting.
I think every year there's a team that does that. It tends to happen quite a bit. Yeah, it's an interesting concept. We'll see if these fuckers want to do something exciting with it. But no, I don't hate where the league's at the moment. I think this year's been pretty good. The rule changes have been pretty good. The refereeing, though, has been a bit I don't know. It's a bit average. I think I've been watching too much NRL 360, to be honest. But what do you think of that Nico Hines blowing up at the touch judge, by the way?
Nothing fucking. Again, you want to be equality. They preach equality and all that shit. Then, like, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't have been It should have been Nico Hines yelling at referee, not female referee. Yeah. And what he was has nothing to do with the gender. It had to do with the decision, and that's purely why he would.
Bad decision though too.
Yeah, it was an awful decision.
Yeah.
Hey, that's the thing, right? It was fucking awful. But again, if it was a male, maybe something small might have happened, but they would have admitted they made a mistake. So
yeah. Did Annesley come out and say anything about that?
I haven't heard anything about it. I don't think he does those press conferences as much anymore.
No.
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like I would.
Yeah, it's a strange, a bit out of character for Nico, but
I think it's just a build up of his frustration.
Yeah, but I also think blowing up at referees it's almost impossible to be consistent.
Yeah. Oh, they make mistakes.
Yeah, because refs do fuck up, but some players are just more likely to blow up deluxe. And sometimes they're the captain, right? They're entitled to talk to the referee.
Yeah.
And some refs can take it, It doesn't bother them too much.
Yeah.
They've got better relationships with the players. So, yeah, it's very interesting. Very interesting. Might be a bit sour about Reece Walsh, but, that's just me. Took his chance for Dally M away. Motherfuckers. All right, cool. I don't have too much more to discuss. Is there anything else you want to go through before I get out of here?
No, nothing from me.
Hectic. Well, I appreciate y'all jumping in and watching us go round once again. I apologize. This is not a short version at all. 50 minutes in. Satan got me and took me for a ride. My Lord. But hopefully you guys like the new format. We'll go tips first, and then I can save my rubbish talk until later. And if everybody drops off after 20 minutes, that's a clear sign I should shut the fuck up. But some of you stayed on, so I appreciate y'all. We'll see you next week.
See you guys.
Yeah.